Well, that's the most messy intro I've had in a while, but yeah, I ran late. So we are here with a game. We're here with 3 games, actually, is what we're going to see. We're going to see the games for Group D of the Spring Cup for the Dota 2 Romania Spring Cup. So let's just jump ourselves right into the first match of Group D. It is Seed Nullis, or TCN, rather, taking on Can't Describe. And we are seeing them, of course, together with G-Advance. G-Advance, I'm so sorry. Hello.
No, it's fine. I was mostly confused because we started early today. We were 2 minutes early.
Oh, yeah,
that's amazing.
That's why
that never happens.
That has never happened in this tournament before. So that is why also I was a bit late. Yeah, let's go with that. That's fine.
Never mind this tournament. That never happens to anybody.
No,
in any program ever. They're always late.
Well, I know that sometimes tournaments, they, rather than, like, even if everybody is ready in time, they start at the said time because, for example, if you plan on watching a match and, you know, you set your calendar for it, you don't want to have that match starting before you actually, you know, before you are assuming it starts. So it's a little unorthodox, but nonetheless, we are here. Intro with music in the background. Doesn't matter one bit. We've got ourselves 3 games, as said, 4 teams in Group D. So TCN is also known as Seed Nullis, Can't Describe, Maven, and Tricked. Those are the teams today. One of them well, there is always a team that we don't see, right?
Yeah, for us, there's always going to be a team that we don't get to see. Yesterday, it was like Vul, and then I can't remember after that. But, yeah.
Yeah. So, one of the teams we're not going to see, but we're going to see these 2 teams, and then one of the teams that wins the match that is going on right now as well, which is, of course, the other 2 teams, so Maven versus Tricked. The winner of that one will be going up against the winner of this one. We'll see that one, and then we're going to see the loser of that one taking on the winner of the other one. Yes, if that makes sense. And I love the Centaur.
Yeah, I mean, early Centaur picks. I was a big fan of it when one of the other teams was doing it in the tournament, and, I mean, Can't Describe, they seem to favor it as well. Interesting to pick it up with a Bane. That's not normally a typical hero that I'd want comboed with Centaur, but it's only the first 2 picks. There's still a lot of different things that they can go for. If they want, they could still run very strong dual lanes, actually. If they got something like a Mirana, and then something to back up the Centaur, that's very capable dual lanes.
I kind of... The Bane Centaur combination reminds me of the Shadow Demon Slardar combination, actually. It works about the same. Of course, the Stomp that the Centaur has. AoE stun. Perfect to wake someone up from the sleep, and the sleep to set up for the Centaur to actually move towards the target, while Centaur doesn't have a blink yet, although we're going to assume that he will try to build that. So, yeah, I kind of, I can understand the combination. It is not very common to do that. At least I haven't seen it before, especially not since it kind of, like, is this Centaur going to be safe laning? That's what comes to mind then, if I see this combination picked up. I mean, they can go for a dual lane on the off lane as well, 2-1-2 lanes, as we saw, I believe, yesterday in one of the games. But with the Bane, he is a bit... He's not going to be able to he's not defensive enough, I feel, to be on the aggressive dual lane.
Yeah, I think he could go with a different combo, actually, because the thing is, whilst the Bane Centaur dual lane, yeah, you're right, it could definitely work, but I would say it's slightly worse than a Centaur Shadow Demon dual lane would be. Because the thing is with Shadow Demon, the way you're coming out of it is, if you want a melee hero who can go in and AoE stun like that, then that's better with Shadow Demon, because then you can block people afterwards as well with the illusions. Whereas if you're trying to hit somebody from range with a stun that's, you know, hard to set up, like, for instance, Kunkka's stun or Mirana's arrow, either of those... Whoa, okay. Confident pick.
Can't describe.
Not sure why you'd pick it this
predict.
early, but apparently they want it, yeah. Predictions all out the window right now. That's a weird one.
Now, Wraith King, we've seen him actually picked up a couple of times in the Eastern scene, I believe. I don't mind seeing a Wraith King as a support, on a support role. He can be...
Yeah, EG actually picked him yesterday for that.
Because, I mean, he has a second life. First of all, he can run in. The slow, it was actually mentioned in some patch discussions that were going on when 6.8 just hit. If you run in as a Wraith King and you're going to start bashing on people and you're the only one around, I mean, the other team is gonna kill you. There's just no other way around it. And
Yeah,
then you die,
absolutely.
and you come back up, and everybody is slowed. And that is the perfect time for Centaur and Co. to run in and just literally trample you.
Yeah, and the thing with that is Wraith King, he can be fairly tanky. He can take a fair amount of hits to take down. If you have a lot of melee heroes, for instance, and you try to take a Wraith King down, you can be grouped up very close. And Batrider and AA, they don't even have... Well, AA's not got bad range at all. He can stay pretty far out of the fight. But Batrider's, he's pretty short range as well. His role is actually as an initiator to jump right on top of people. So, yeah, you could see people getting right on top of the Shadow on the Wraith King, killing him off, and then the Centaur jumping on and stomping them all. And suddenly you put yourself in a really bad position. But Seed Nullus, they actually pick up a hero you don't see too often. A very, very dangerous hero to run, though, Shadow Fiend.
Yeah, and I have to say, especially dangerous against so many disables coming out from Can't Describe. While they themselves, I mean, yeah, they have got some disables. They've got the Cold Feet that can proc. They've got the Lasso as well, of course. But they're up against a Nightmare, a Fiend's Grip, a Stomp, a Stun from the Wraith King, and now also with the Kinetic Field and Static Storm over the top, which we're going to assume is Disruptor going to also have an Aghanim's, which is very strong against Shadow Fiend. No BKB for him if he gets caught out by that one. And I'm kind of worried for him, because in a fight he wants to stand there and hit stuff, which is brilliant, but he can't really do that if he's constantly disabled.
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, lucky thing for him is there's only one disabled so far that will go through BKB, and whilst Disruptor will probably want Ags, it takes a fair amount of time to farm that up. Disruptor's not a fast farming hero, you need to be pretty far ahead to get it fast. The only thing that can stop him if he gets BKB is Bane, and the thing about Bane is it's a channeled spell, it takes a long time to use, and Rubik is the perfect counter to Bane if Bane has to use his Fiend's Grip every fight, because you Fiend's Grip somebody, Rubik steals it and goes, now you're Fiend's Gripped. And yeah, that's a pretty strong pickup for Seed Nullus here. I'm still a bit confused over Can't Describe's lineup. It seems like this is going to be a core Wraith King, which, I have no problem with, but if you're going to do that, you do generally need somebody else who can do more damage early. Wraith King's damage scaling and late game scaling is actually very strong, but the thing is, his early game damage is pretty meh, and he's also very, very kiteable. And Seed Nullus have great heroes to do that so far. They're all ranged heroes for one, and Shadow Fiend can very easily pick up something like a Skadi and make Wraith King almost pointless.
Yeah, I have to say, I hadn't really taken the time to look at which players are actually in these teams, but we've got some pretty known names here in these teams.
Yeah, these are fairly big names here.
Yeah, and all of a sudden that raises my expectations of the game. Lately, in pubs, I have been finding a Wraith King off lane. What's your stand on that? I mean, it's pubs, obviously.
Yeah, the thing is, though, there's certainly some merit to that, but why would you put a Wraith King there if you could put a Centaur there? Centaur's a lot harder to deal with, especially for supports like Rubik and AA, who have low HP pools, so if they try and hit the Centaur, they probably end up taking more damage than the Centaur's going to. I would just put the Centaur there. It's a much safer option, and Wraith King, he does scale well with a lot of farm, particularly with levels as well. Level 16 is incredibly important on that hero, because you go from like 120 seconds or something ridiculous. Yeah, 160 seconds on Reincarnation to 60, which is a huge jump. You can basically fight.
Yeah, I have to say, I mean, I like Centaur. I'm not too sure if he can actually shine too well on solo offlane, so then you would have to put a support there as well. In which case, it is not going to be easy, because with the Rubik now picked up also by TCN, Rubik Ancient Deprivation actually combines up fairly nicely in the sense that Cold Feet will proc off the Telekinesis if the Telekinesis is leveled. Let's put that there as well, because you do need to level that Telekinesis then, but overall it should proc. And it is very easy to get caught out by that if you are the support of a Bane, be that Disruptor, be that Bane, as we actually have got a Beastmaster pickup now. This is, in terms of cores, probably the manliest lineup I've seen in a long time.
This is a very manly lineup, and this is a lineup that says we want our Wraith King to do a ton of damage, because they've got a lot of disable and a lot of skills to hold people back. You know, the Disruptor can pull people back. Everybody else on their team has really good disables. Beastmaster has a great disable. Wraith King, Centaur has an AoE one. Bane is made of disables. This is a lineup just to get the Wraith King in there doing a ton of damage. So I like this lineup. It's dangerous to run something like this, though.
I'm thinking which manly supports could they have picked up to be Ogre?
Earthshaker and Ogre.
Yeah.
More manly supports.
One thing that kind of worries me is that all their cores are melee. So if this last core is going to be a kiting kind of core, then there is going to be trouble for Counter-Strike. But so far, I mean, Shadow Fiend is kind of squishy. I like the Slark pickup a lot, though. However, I mean, if you are a Slark and you hit up against one of those tanky cores, it's going to take a while before those cores are down, and your invis is not going to last long enough, and you're still going to get stunned while being invis. It's a tricky one. It's a tricky one.
It
but
is
in
a
the
tricky
lane,
one.
it
The
should be winning
Slark is
the
a
lane.
good pick, though.
Yeah.
The Slark is definitely a good pick, just because, you know, like you said, you do need to be moving around. I definitely think this is going to be a Skadi Shadow Fiend game, because there are so many manly people that are going to be running at you as a Shadow Fiend. You do not want to get attacked by any of these, but
Yeah.
the unlucky thing for the Slark is, well, there's a few things about the Slark in this game. One is his Dark Pact and Shadow Dance is not going to be enough. There are so many disables on the side of Counter-Strike. Everybody's got at least one. You know, a couple of them have got AoE ones, and one of them's got two. So, well, no, they've got several with two. So, this is very difficult to deal with. And basically, you're not going to be able to use Dark Pact enough to dodge all the stuns. That said, however, one nice thing for him is he's a very good hero versus Wraith King. Not just because he's mobile, but also because every time you hit the Wraith King, you steal his stats. And Wraith King's very reliant on having just enough mana to use Reincarnation. And Reincarnation is 140 mana. On most heroes, that's not a huge deal. It's a fair amount, but it's not a huge deal. On Wraith King, it's a lot. He starts off with, I mean, he's got 2 extra Ironwood branches here. He's still only got 260 mana, and it doesn't get much better. His intelligence gain is pretty poor, so if the Slark can make the fight go on long enough with the Wraith King, then Wraith King might die permanently. You know, he might actually not get a chance to use Reincarnation.
And on top of that, I mean, the cooldown on the Wraith Fire Blast, we're going to call that the stun, is pretty short. It's 8 seconds, meaning you can use it multiple times in the fight. Now, that's brilliant because it's a good stun, solid stun. However, it is a very expensive stun, and you have to be so careful to still, as you say, have enough mana to still actually reincarnate if you die. That it's something that you really have to juggle.
Yeah, and especially if you get your stats stolen.
Yes.
That's even worse. This might be one of those games where, you know, he needs to think about picking up an extra stat item, you know, alongside your normal carry items, which is not something he wants to do because his team are relying on him to do the majority of the mid-game DPS. Obviously, they have very, very strong disables and they have great stuff that they can use as far as initiation, but sustained damage is not something they have. And poor Arise here in the middle lane.
Yeah, indeed. Well, let's take a look at who is playing what so that we can also come to see who is facing who in terms of laning. We've got indeed a Rise here on TCN on the Dire side, as we have nobody dying yet. It's fine, but he's playing the Shadow Fiend middle lane, so that will be his lane for now. We've got Rider on the off lane, played by W33. We've got on the top lane Zizou Dota playing the Ancient Apparition with Leon playing the Slark, and then last but not least, it is the Rubik played by Freezer.
Yeah, and on the side of Can't Describe here, the offlaner for the team, it is going to be Afterlife here on his Centaur.
It's a first blood! It's not a first blood! It's a first... No, it's not, Stellianer. You might make it into your own first blood if you're not careful. He's running away from this Arise with a self-ticking. He is gonna try to run for his life, and he should be able to get out of there safely, but that was close. Both ways.
Close
actually.
for both of them there.
Yeah.
But the thing is that Beastmaster, not exactly the best chasing hero, and he's still only level 1, and a Shadow Fiend at this point does not put out very much damage, and Beastmaster's pretty damn hard to kill. He's got good armor, and he's got a lot of HP.
Yeah, and a stout shield.
Yeah, and a stout shield as well, and he'll have bottle now as well, so this damage he sustained won't be too much of a big deal. But yeah, anyway, on the side of Can't Describe, it is the mid player for the team, Stelliana. He's going to be on the Beastmaster here. His support, who's mostly been around this middle lane, is going to be Zonda here, up on the Bane. And on the safe lane combo for the team, it is going to be Actmo, played by the Wraith King, good luck. I can't...
I wish you all the best.
It's Bob, played by playing the Disruptor here. Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce that
You
name.
can call him Bob. I like it.
the horrible thing is I used to speak Russian. I forgot it all. Like I actually would have been able to pronounce that fine before, but now I have no idea.
That's why I would need
So,
Vigermont.
yeah.
He can actually speak Russian.
Yeah, exactly, right?
He would
Like
know
he
how
speaks
to
it
pronounce
fine.
it. Damn.
I had this conversation with him as well, where I was like embarrassed about it. So I was like, I used to know that. I don't anymore, but I used to.
Good old times. I used to be able to speak French and German and Spanish, and now I can only understand it a bit. I know. Well, I used to be able to speak Latin. I mean, that was ages ago.
Jesus. Jesus, look at this big ass ancient stack that's
Yeah,
coming
I
in.
know,
Sorry.
right? He's been stacking it every
is
minute. It's gonna be
every single
unstackable
time.
soon, though.
It'll probably be hard to stack at this point. I mean, ancients are the ones that... Well, yeah, I was going to say, because technically no camp is unstackable if you have Invoker. Otherwise, yeah, it gets to a point where they're too big and they get in the way of each other. Because with Invoker, you can just Tornado and then it stacks itself like that. It's really nice.
Well, does it
But
work
the
on
pressure
ancients?
going on a Rise here. This is a difficult situation for a Shadow Fiend, but he seems to be getting pretty okay last hit here. Actually up 12 for 2, and I mean, the big thing about Shadow Fiend is getting those early last hits in the lanes, otherwise you struggle so hard. And it seems like despite the Bane's best efforts, he's still getting a fair amount of farm here.
Yeah, and he is actually the only one who is really pressured. I mean, we've got a Trilin on top, but they've not been able to really stop the Centaur from getting experience. I mean, that's why he's there. You can't really count him getting actually last hits. But he's got 3, yeah. But he's getting levels. He's level 3 right now. We can compare it to the Bad Rider, who is actually your first blood right there, as the Thunderstrike will take it down. But he is at level 4, so he's not that far ahead compared to the Centaur. As Wraith King actually with Phase Boost made that also possible. He just picked those up from the side shop. So that's Wraith King already having his first big item ready. Wraith King, who is in theory last hitting against the Slark, and he is 5 last hits ahead.
Yeah, and this is an interesting thing I wanted to point out about the Wraith King, is this game, if you look at it, this is definitely one of those, you know, Phase Boots, Drums, Sanjin Yasha games. One of those ones where you want to try and snowball fast, but actually, Steliano, he's going to get a kill on Zizou here.
The boar is doing the work. That slow got increased, of course, with the patch, and should be a kill. 1 axe is needed. Oh, the axes did not reach Zizou. He won't be getting cold feeted, but that is... Like, he stood in the eye of the storm right there.
Well, that's embarrassing.
That is very embarrassing.
Yeah, I just think he expected him to keep on running, and maybe he didn't know some help was coming in, so he didn't know exactly when Zizou was going to turn around, but again, going on
missing axes, though, and now Stelianer is the one in trouble. The Raze will actually get that kill. Rise. 2-on-1 in the middle lane, no problem for him. He'll take that kill.
Yeah, Steliana, I mean, maybe he's suffering from some lag or something, but it seems like just some, you know, slight misclicks there with the axis twice now.
Yeah.
We would have noticed both times. It's just, I mean, it's embarrassing, really.
You know what other thing? Like, it could be that he hasn't played Beastmaster for a while, because how often do you see Beastmaster lately? And even in pubs, which would be the other place where you might practice it, I mean, it's not really a hero that's played at all. Not in my pubs anyway.
He's not really a pub hero, so you're not going to see him playing it there. And like you said, he's not picked up that often for pro games either. So yeah, I can understand that. And axes, they do have a weird cast animation and delay on them, so that's understandable. But is this you know, the old DreamHack Winter? Look at all these stacks on the map right now. Got a big one here.
Hello? I think he just dropped it. Oh, there you are, as we see the ancient operation go down. Telekinesis still came out, but I think that Afterlife will be able to get away. You're back?
Yeah, I think okay, apparently I can't press my push to talk and control at the same time.
Oh.
Apparently that doesn't work, because I was drawing on the map, because there's a tons of stacks in this sort of area around mid, but oh.
Yep, Arise raises hit, and Beastmaster might have nice armor, but if those raises hit, then there's really no way to deal with that.
Yeah, and this Beastmaster mid pick just not having the effect that you want it to. You want to get, you know, a pretty fast level 6 on the hero and then just rotate and kill. But, I mean, he'll still have level 6 fairly soon, but this Shadow Fiend's getting a lot more than you would have expected out of this lane, especially because Zonda's here as well.
Yeah, I was thinking, by the way, which other camp was stacked? Because I only saw the Ancients.
The Ancients, and on the side of TCN, they have most of their jungle stacked.
Okay. Oh yeah, as we have got another Beastmaster kill. I mean, Beastmaster right now is struggling to get level 6. everybody
He's
knows
struggling very hard.
that he is the hero that was run in the offlane very often because he could be gaining experience. You know, having the ancients there as well, which are stacked for him, so that's nice. But then level 6, he'll start making a difference, but he's not reaching level 6.
Yeah, and I mean, the lucky thing is for him, he does have this huge ancient stack here that's pretty fairly early on. You know, often you wouldn't be getting laning XP as well as having a big ancient stack, so he's going to get more than he would in the off lane. But yeah, that's something to think about here. He's, you know, doing surprisingly badly in the mid lane here, and that is traditionally an off lane hero, yeah. I mean, he's very good on mid, but he does pretty much just need level 6. Of course, when he does get level 6, they'll probably get a kill somewhere, though.
Yeah,
that's the nice thing.
He has a smoke in his inventory. He is level 6. He'll be able to pick up the regen rune, and I think he's gonna beat Arise to the punch. And there are also quite a few people around there. Oh, they don't have the vision though. Otherwise, a glimpse could be there. But I think Arise saw them coming, so should be safe. But anyways, who cares about towers, right? Towers, you know, towers smour, and they just walk past. But yeah, Arise is fine. Arise is out safe. By the way, at this point, TCN does not have a single ward on the map.
Yeah, that's a bad position for them to be in, especially because at this stage, Can't Describe can run around just trying to kill people, and that's exactly what they're trying to do. Look at Axmo here in the enemy jungle, just going for it, and also spotting out the, well, no, most of these ancient stacks actually have been cleared now, and there's just mud columns left, so actually not going to get the bounty he could have got from that if he'd just done it a couple minutes ago.
Oh, hello, Freezer. Welcome. Freezer is a goner, I'd say, because, ooh, yeah, he is. There we go. Afterlife coming in as well. It is Leon that's the only one there. The Static Storm actually goes up. Kind of a weird throw out there from Bob, but oh well, Bob will know what he's doing. At least they get one kill with the rotation, because it's a very expensive rotation. The entire bottom lane was cleared. They actually also sent the Beastmaster bottom. There's a roar up on the Ancient Deparation, but the tower is still hitting the creep, so he didn't get that luck. There are still axes. He won't need to throw them anymore. Zunder coming in with the level 3 brain set. Almost level 6, by the way, and with that Fiend's Grip. I think the lineup of Can't Describe is really going to come to life when all those heroes reach those prime levels, as Leon is going to be able to run away in his cloud from the hate train here on the top lane.
Yeah, and I mean, the items and stuff that they've gone for and their map movement just says that Can't Describe just want to fight right now, right? Their Wraith King is level 6, so he's essentially got 2 lives. And, I mean, the thing is, TCN, a disadvantage to their lineup is a few of them do need quite a few items. Heroes like Shadow Fiend and Slark.
Oh,
even we need a Blink Dagger.
Getting stunned here. The Centaur Stampede was already used, but I don't think they're going to get anything off the back of it. They might actually lose the reincarnation from the Wraith King. No, they don't. Age Separation ulti will still come in. Hits on the Disruptor, but it's just annoyance, nothing else. But that is a bit of a hate coming towards TCN that they quickly turn around into a favorable position for them.
Yeah, a fair amount of hate going towards them, and I mean, they still don't get that Batrider, but at the very least they force him back, and his farm is not as good as he'd like it to be right now. He got killed once on the off lane, and since then he's had an assist, and even with the big stacks in his jungle, he's not got a huge amount because there's been too many mud golems.
Yeah.
So his Blink Dagger will be a little bit late, and I mean, that's just more time that Can't Describe can try and make use of the fact that they really are very strong at this point. Anybody goes near them, they'll probably end up dead.
Yeah, I'm sorry if you hear some background noise, but apparently my cat was laying on my phone, turned something on, and I can't seem to turn it off. I don't know what he did. Voice control, it says, and I'm not doing anything, and I don't know. It's not going out. Ooh, nice A ult. Ooh, nice dodge, unknown dodge though from the Disruptor. Batrider coming in. It is actually the center ult that was stolen by the Rubik. They grab the Disruptor. They will be able to kill him off. And we'll also be able to clear out the Beastmaster. Perhaps more. The reincarnation is still there, but they're gonna wait him up. They have got the chilling touch there, and there's really no way out for him. He'll get picked up there. We still do have the Bane coming in. Not sure why. Looking for a brain set. Wraith King still gets the inspiration with the dot. Oh, the dot that his stun has. But that is a triple kill for Arise on his Shadow Fiend, which is now level 10. Starts on the BKB and is 6-0-1. He's been involved in all 7 kills, and 6 of them are on his name. That's a very scary Shadow Fiend. Oh,
yeah, you never want a Shadow Fiend to get this sort of start.
Well, they're going to try to take him down. Is there a reward? No, there's not. They cannot do anything. The Glimpse was already used, and that is a safe Shadow Fiend.
smart play by him then to have the reactions then, and to know that because Raw was used in the last fight, it's only level 1. There's no way it's going to be off cooldown there. And the big thing for me in that fight is, can't describe, they took a big 5-man fight there. But they did it as only 4. They didn't have everybody they needed to fight at that stage, and they're going to try desperately to finish off this middle tower here.
Oh, Exmo is in some trouble. He's fighting against 2. The pounce already missed, but he's locked in place. Can't eat his way out. He does not have a reincarnate. Now he'll be able to move away with his phase boots, but he'll still take a fall here as he tries to life drain what he can. Life steal on Freezer, but Freezer will live while the Wraith King will die.
Yeah, and I mean, can't describe. They have a strong lineup for fighting now, but the problem is they're just a little bit too broken up. Their Centaur is still on the top lane here. He's just finished his Blink Dagger though, so this is a big item for them. He hasn't been involved in any of these other fights. He's got himself a kill, but...
Are you audible
Sorry?
in Dota TV?
I should be audible in Dota TV.
Okay.
There's a little thing coming up on the bottom right.
Oh, that's good. Down bad rider. Good boy. Wow, look at this stack that they're able to clear out. Selena is gonna get hit by the AE ult though. He has to be careful there. Those creeps might actually put him low enough to take down.
Oh, he's just gonna survive,
but
it's pretty close.
The Shadow Fiend. Oh, he still gets one last access out. Now we're running for his life. Good choice. Also, we did have Rubik coming around to play, but nice steal on the creeps, because that is a lot of farm waiting to happen there. As we have the net worth, I mean, it's all very much in favor of TCN, at least for the top 2, but it is more evenly spread on Can't Describe over their top 3, because Batrider is just very far behind. Stampede for the bottom lane. They want to try to take down a Slark, and they will be able to. Aeol's coming out though, and Afterlife is not going to make it out of there alive either. Zizou will take a fall, but at least he got something in return. What started out as a well, engagement started by Can't Describe turns into a... Well, I don't think they were planning on losing the Centaur, who, by the way, just finished up with
Axmo out of position on the top lane. He's going to be gone on here by Freezer and Arise. Arise is very strong at this point. Yeah, and this is the long cooldown on it.
Gets a stun out, but yeah, you're absolutely right. He shouldn't be there. There is a teleport coming in from the Bane, but I don't think it's going to matter, because Freezer... What we said earlier about his stun having such a short cooldown, and, you know, he can't use it a lot because he'll need his mana, and it's turning against him real hard because Rubik does have that mana. As we do have a lasso coming out from the Batrider. I think he's gonna die though. Flame Break coming out, but Sullianer is one hit away from getting a kill. There we go. Nicely done for him. At least they get something across the map as it turns into a 10 on 10, and I feel like it's kills all over the place. What I miss is like, it feels like everybody is just fighting where they think it's possible, not necessarily having a lot of coordination with the rest of their team.
Yeah, and that could be a problem, particularly for the side of Can't Describe, because Can't Describe, they don't have as strong a late game. You know, going into the late game, they're going to be facing up versus a Shadow Fiend and a Slark, and I generally say that both those heroes will, you know, not struggle once they're very farmed versus the lineup we Can't Describe, unless the Wraith King is an absolute god at that point. And at this point, he doesn't look like he's going to be getting that level of farm. He's gone for an early game fighting build, and he's not doing particularly great. I think the important thing for them, though, is to try and get this mech up on the Beastmaster, although he's not spending his gold right now, and he's just going for this Ancient stack. I really hope he does get there as his next item. He's got enough mana to use it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be unhappy with the Blink either, though. I mean, they have a lot of aggression coming out their way. As the Stampede goes for bottom lane, they want to take down the Slark again. The Static Storm comes out. No way out for Slark, as he will get picked up indeed. Nicely done. Bob gets the killing blow. He is starting to build up towards his Aghanims indeed. Fairly far off, about 2k, but at least he is not worried about having to buy anything else, because that's all taken care of by the Bane, and hopefully then indeed, I should say, the Beastmaster for the mechanism. They do need a mechanism, I feel, though, because they have a fighting lineup, and if you're gonna fight, you need that mech.
Yeah, both teams at this stage, I mean, there's so much fighting, I think both teams would rather have one. The big difference is that TCN don't have any natural builders for it, other than maybe the Ancient Apparition, but he's not going to have enough farm to do it. Especially if Stelliana does manage to get this kill on Zizou. He's really trying to get this kill on Zizou. I think he's annoyed about the missed axes from earlier.
Yeah, I wouldn't, I don't blame him. That was quite unfortunate, to say the least. You didn't see where he was, though. Zizou is hiding nicely, but that is exactly what he does. He's not getting experience, he's not getting farm, and he's hiding because he does not want to die. He can send his ult out, which is, you know, he has some use even if he's not doing anything else on the map, as we have got maybe a blink from the center. No, he's just gonna leave the Disruptor alone. I think that's a good call. Just leave the Disruptor to die and run for your life, because if he got caught out there as well, Freezer, he actually picked up Glimpse now. So there's like, if someone comes to help you out, because of course 3 versus 1 you're not gonna make it, but if someone were to come teleporting in, then he's gonna get Glimpse back. So good call.
Yeah, and I've got to say, there's a ton of great spells that the Rubik can steal this game. Glimpse is definitely one of them. So I think this Rubik pick is really working out for them. What doesn't seem to be working out is perhaps the Slark, who's actually been killed a few times by the Disruptor +1 combo. And that's an interesting combo that they can use against him. Because, obviously, you know, for the moment at least, he's not going to be getting a BKB or anything like that, and he's not particularly tanky without items. He's even going for, you know, items to give him a lot of stats, and he's still getting killed in the Static Storm. So I think that's a smart move by Can't Describe. I think at the moment, though, their big issue is getting just, you know, a bit more farm on a rise, because whilst he does have a BKB right now, he still doesn't do that much in the way of damage. He's relying on his razors.
Yeah. It's a bit interesting, because Can't Describe, I feel like they have kind of shifted their game plan. They also now picked up a Hand of Midas on the Wraith King to maybe go for a bit more...
That is a big shift in game plan.
Yeah, because they had a game plan, like, we're gonna run at you and we're gonna kill you, but it's not really been panning out all too well. So having that Midas on Wraith King does ensure some more late game farm. I'm not too convinced that if we look at this game an hour into the game, that they're actually gonna take it with their heroes. I mean, yeah, they're all nice and tanky and all that, but Shadow Fiend's gonna hit like a monster truck, and it's gonna be very difficult to actually deal with that.
Yeah, I think the reason he's gone for that Midas is actually on Wraith King, it's probably more important for the levels, just because the big thing for him is that right now he's been putting a lot of points into stats. He needs that Empiric Aura going late, and he needs that Mortal Strike as well to have any hope of carrying. And Reincarnation, I said it before, level 1 and level 2 cooldown on it is like forever. It really is long. And level 3 cooldown is virtually nothing, but... Oh, Bob. Oh, Glimpse back.
Glimpse by... like, that's the worst thing as a Disruptor, right? I mean, your big-ass spell is just is your Glimpse, and then it's used against you. As he still throws out what he can before he dies, but that just means that it's on cooldown next time he starts the fight. If there's going to be a fight bottom, there's not going to be a Static Storm.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Yeah, and I mean, he goes down for it, and this gives an opportunity for TCN to take a tower here, because the big thing is they don't have enough, probably, to control the Slark outside of that, unless, you know, he makes a mistake. That's it. Well, no, they still have a lot of spells that they can use, but it seems like they just don't want to fight right now. Although they have actually smoked up too.
Yeah, with the two of them sitting on the bottom lane, they will try to take down a tier 2 tower top, but are gonna engage on the bottom lane. The lift is there though from the Rubik, and the BKB gets popped. Afterlife trying to deny the tower, but he knows he is gone for. Gets pounced upon. Disruptor put in a Nightmare, save for later, still will get picked up. Double kill for Arise, godlike right now. He has not died yet. 9-0-2, and Zonder, he'll be able to make it out alive. But, I mean, this game is going from bad to worse. Look at that gold graph. That just tells the story. Experience graph will be a little less extreme, but nonetheless, it is quickly going in favor of TCN.
Yeah, and I think that's just because they're running a much more stable lineup, that they seem a little bit more... I mean, they're running their game plan, right? Which is just, you know, play it kind of cool, but they still have heroes that they can be very aggressive with, and Can't Describe, they don't seem to be able to cope with that. This Beastmaster actually went for a Necronomicon, which, I mean, it's pretty much the same thing, but not as much HP.
No, roared, Axis, is there enough damage? No, they're gonna let it go. A-ult comes in, hits actually on both, as there's a Nightmare put out on the Wraith King. Still taking a bit of damage, lands a stun up on Freezer, but no follow-up coming. Saliener, he's not a right-click hero, so him moving closer to try and help out is not gonna work. In comes a Blink, Bat Rider, that's 1 down, and that it will be 2 down while he will be dying, and then alive again, and then dying again, because there's really no backup coming, and that is a scary engagement to do. I mean, going to the top lane with 2 of you to try and take down the main carry from the other team next to a tower where people can teleport in to help him out? Questionable at best.
Yeah, and the thing is they're not grouped up, right? Lineup is very, very strong in the team fight, especially at this stage of the game, but they're not grouping up and, you know, committing that much to a full team fight, and I think that's the real problem for Can't Describe right now. TCN, though, they're playing things to their strengths. They're, you know, playing at a pretty standard pace. It's still a fairly high pace, I would say. They're actually up to 16 kills in 22 minutes, which is a fair amount, but Yeah, and Arise is getting very farmed at this point as well. He can afford his full Manta style now.
Yeah, and I mean, Slark died just now again. It's only his third death, though. I was a bit surprised. I thought he died way more, but it's only his third. He almost has his Lincolns ready, and with that, should be having enough momentum to live through the harassment coming from him to him when he's stuck in the Static Storm kinetic field, and Lincolns won't save him from that one. But it's not that bad. If he is dying instead of Arise, well, worth it. And actually, Arise, yeah, he is filthy rich again. I'm really a bit worried for Can't Describe. How are they gonna get this game back? It looks like Beastmaster went for the Necronomicon, so goes for a bit more push. No real items, no new items actually up yet on anybody of Can't Describe, and that means, I mean, we already saw the Blink Dagger on the Centaur, probably wants to have a BKB next. Disruptor still building towards his Aghanims, which he is 800 gold away from, so that will make a big impact, but doesn't have it yet either. And Wraith King, after his Hand of Midas, he's actually sitting on 2300 gold, but hasn't made use of it just yet, so we still don't know really what he wants to go for. What do you think he wants to go for in this one?
There's a lot of options for him.
Yeah.
I think an AC definitely would be pretty strong, especially because of the, there's the Shadow Fiend aura. It gives him some good attack speed. Maybe that's an option. The problem for him, though, is that he also still needs, a fair amount of HP on top of that. And he doesn't have a huge amount, although he is quite statsy at this point. I think probably an AC is his most sensible choice. There is definitely other stuff he could go for, though. There's a lot of different options, but he might have to be forced to go for an MKB because Arise is going straight for a Butterfly at this point, which it is a great combo with a Black King Bar on this hero, but I mean, it's very dangerous for Can't Describe now, because if he gets 35% extra evasion, maybe even an Aegis, they're not going to kill him.
Nope, I agree. And they're not going to kill him anytime soon. Arise has got his Aegis. Pretty secure Roshan kill, to be honest. I mean, didn't look like Can't Describe is knowing that was going on, and on top of that, even if they did, they couldn't really fight it, even if they wanted to. They also weren't able to take anything in return for it on the top lane. You know, how about having a Radiance on Wraith King?
Radiance Wraith King is genuinely actually really good. It's something that not a lot of people think of, but any hero who's going to last in the fights, a Radiance is good on. The issue is that there's already a BKB on the Shadow Fiend, so that won't do any more damage. The Radiance Burn won't do any more damage to him, and it's kind of a bit late for it, I would say, at this point. It will help its farm, and it's still very, very good damage, because like I said, the hero's going to last a long time in the fights, but it still feels a bit too late for it. It's not like it's going to be murdering the supports really easily either, because the Ancient Apparition, he's got a point booster and an Ogre Club, and the Rubik, he'll probably die a lot faster to it, but he's going to die anyway.
Yeah, very dead. This time, 3 people coming top from Can't Describe to try and get a kill. They only got one on the Rubik, and with that, actually, perhaps draw the attention of the rest of TCN to the top lane. They are 4 people, and they are looking for revenge. Teleporting coming from the Slark already to try and stop some teleports. He pounces, gets himself a Beastmaster. Beastmaster teleports out, and he will be in time. Never mind, raises happen. Teleport out, at least from the Bane. He is out safe. Disruptor will still try to do what he can to slow the rest of the team down, and it is Wraith King that was there without a without a teleport scroll, and he's not gonna run from this. He's gonna die twice. Did pick up a Sunshine Yasha before he died, but nonetheless, a bit of a misplay not carrying a teleport scroll would have saved him there.
Yeah, he probably would have been able to, especially because there's a lot of juke spots in this area. I mean, maybe the Batrider sees him, because Firefly gives you flying unit status, which means you see over the trees and stuff, but yeah, he still would have had a chance there. And I think you're right that the earlier Can't Describe, they didn't realize that TCN were actually doing the Roshan, because in that tier 2 just a little bit earlier, and they wouldn't have had to commit to that tier 2 then. And that ended up being a problem for them, because they committed to the tier 2, and it ended up getting them killed. And looks like Afterlife, actually, he'll be okay. He's picked up a haste ring.
Yeah, someone's chasing him down though, but Lion will not be able to catch up with him. 1800 gold already on the Slark after his Lincolns is done. We almost have the BKB for Afterlife, but so far they're losing space. This time of the game is would be the run at you kind of game time, but they're not able to. As there's a Slark coming in, he already went into a Shadow Dance, goes on Afterlife. His Pounce is already on cooldown though, and he can't find any other. Oh, hello, Stellianer. Yes, he can't find him. Zizou still in some trouble. Will go down to Afterlife, jumping in. They go for the Slark next, stunning him up, and the Static Storm there as well. Fiend's Grip up on a Shadow Fiend. Will he die for the first time this game? I think he shall. 1300 gold going away to the Beastmaster and giving him a double kill. Freezer is going to give him a triple kill. Stallionator is rich as... Well, just very rich. I don't know as what he can be rich as, but he's very rich. For dead.
Yeah, he's just got an absolute ton of gold, and this is an incredible turnaround for Can't Describe. They're actually only just slightly behind on kills now, and the big thing for me there is that TCN, they got caught out. They were just out of position too far up with only a couple of their heroes, and then they ended up throwing people into the mix, and one of the big things as well is the Centaur Warrunner got a great double hoof stomp in that fight. I was actually looking at him, because I saw him go out of the fight, and I went, he's going to get a great double hoof stomp, because they're all trying to escape together. They're all together, and then grouped up trying to escape as a group. So he jumps back in, gets the hoof stomp, and he hits the Slark, and that's important, because then they can actually land the Static Storm on them, and from that, like I said before, they have a ton of disables. So once they start winning these fights, it's very hard to get away from the side I Can't Describe. But TCN, overall, they've been stronger. Now, it's probably a lot more even.
Oh, Stallionator looking for a roar. Can't find it on Zizou, but he will be able to get the kill, I think, with the Necronomicon units as Batrider actually finds himself stunned and killed off. Pounds from Leon looking for Stallionator. Can he find him? Disruptor is already dead by the Rubik, as Stallionator is indeed able to teleport himself home. Rubik will go down there, though, as... Whoa, Race King, you are one dead, Race King, and I think he's gonna die again.
He might just TP. Oh, he doesn't even have TP.
He doesn't have TP again, and he is gonna run for his life. Pounds will hit. He'll try to turn it around. He'll try to go for Leon, but he's already back out. The A ult flies in. There's a gem on the floor. Apparently nobody cares about that gem. Afterlife looks to be the one to save that Stallionator, and the gem, nobody picks it up. It's still there, and Zizou will get it back.
It's obviously just a terrible item that nobody should ever buy, right?
One thing I want to point out, first of all, shout out to Tyboria, Subhype, there you go, and the Centaur, he has Tranquil Boots, which is a very difficult choice for me to accept as a hero that is going to be standing there and take punches, right? But he actually is jungling with it, putting his boots next to him. He's doing it right now again, to make sure they're still not on cooldown, so make sure that if he picks it up again, he'll still have the cooldown there, and he can just continue regening, instead of waiting 13 seconds.
Yeah, this is a neat trick that you can do. This is a neat trick that you can do with Tranquil Boots. You know what it reminds me of, which is the funniest thing? Me and my friends were actually, this is a bit of a segue, but me and my friends were watching Eternal Envy's stream last night, and he did the most ridiculous thing with dropping and picking up items. And he made himself 7-slotted with a Naga Siren by dropping his boots, picking up a BKB that he'd freshly bought, using it, dropping it again, and picking up his boots. Which is the most ridiculous thing. But yeah, you can drop items, and, you know, Tranquil Boots is one of them. If you want to farm, drop your Tranquil Boots, because, I mean, even if someone kills them, Tranquil Boots they're pretty cheap. It'll probably annoy you.
Yeah.
It'll hurt a bit, but you are going to be regenning in between, and it doesn't mean that you have to wait for that long cooldown on the Tranquil Boots, which can be very annoying. And yeah, I mean, like you said, Tranquil Boots not exactly the ideal for a hero who wants to be hit a lot, but the thing is that otherwise the hero doesn't have any natural regen, and he uses up a lot of his HP, especially using Double Edge, which is actually his best farming tool as well.
Yeah, and because he wanted to have that BKB first, I mean, can't go for a heart yet. Probably once he has a heart, he'll get himself some different boots. But for the moment, it's working out well on him. As for TCN, I feel like they're starting to lose some ground. It's tough for them to try and go high ground. We now also have more and more damage being built up by the Wraith King, and Can't Describe is winning more and more fights. And now with Beastmaster also getting the Aghanim's, I mean, the shorter cooldown is great, but the most important thing is the longer range that he gets from that, and therefore having a way better initiation time than he had before. As they're looking for the bird. Oh, they'll find it. There you go. The races in the trees around them, thinking, why would they do that? The bird, the hawk.
Yeah, like you said, this game's evened up a fair amount. That said, I think TCN still have a slight advantage. The thing is their heroes and their lineup scales better towards the late game. And I mean, heroes like Batrider, better initiators than Beastmaster. Beastmaster probably a better initiator early, because he doesn't need anything to initiate. He just needs level 6. And
Afterlife goes up on 2, stomps, turns on his BKB, AO flies in, but he does not care for the moment. At least he should be starting to care right now, as he will go down. Meanwhile, the Wraith King finds a target to stun, looking for one, has to go on Slark, but Slark has got that. Lincolns and will be able to get away. Stun gets returned from Freezer onto Stellianer, gets Lassoed straight away, but the Feasker from Zonder, so much disable coming out in his team. The Cold Feet will still proc a Stellianer, but the AA is already dead, and with that the gem back on the floor as they'll try to find the Slark. They can't glimpse him back, he'll try to teleport out, and he should be able to because there's nothing that can stop him from doing so. So it turns out to be a good initiation. It was a bit awkward because if you jump from the low ground to the high ground, I mean, they realized that the smoke was off, they have a ward there, they saw people there. But the question is how many people can actually follow you if you initiate like that? That was my main problem, like, yeah.
I didn't expect them to be able to follow up quite so well on that. The big thing for me, though, is that fight where Slark tried to take on Axmo, and Axmo is actually a lot stronger than he might initially appear, just based on his items. His items at this point aren't that great, but the thing is that the crit hits really hard, and Axmo actually had to just run from him, even though Slark is traditionally a very strong 1 versus 1 carry, because he steals your stats, and with a basher as well, that's an incredible item on the hero. But yeah, and the lead on that doesn't seem to be enough. I didn't even see what happened to Arise in that fight. What happened to him? Because he should have been putting out a lot more damage.
He was far away from the initiation, and I think they weren't really planning on responding to it, so he was a bit late, and then he decided to back off once he figured that things were going south. So didn't actually die, I believe. And
yeah, that'll be a problem then, because they need their Shadow Fiend in this fight. I mean, especially because he's working around with a Butterfly, right, and a BKB, so he can tank a fair amount in the fights. He can be focused on by the side of Counter-Scribe and probably still fight back, and that allows the Slark to be able to do more. In that fight, other people were being focused on, and yeah, Counter-Scribe, they just had more people at the point of attack, which is surprising, like you said, again, because they initiated over a cliff.
Yeah, as they will go for Roshan here for TCN. This is being scouted out though. The bird just died, but the initiation was spotted by Counter-Scribe. Now, will they go in on it? That's the big question, because getting a center
They need to get in fast if they're going.
Yeah, this Roshan is dropping and is actually dead. Never mind that. Blink Lasso grabs himself a Disruptor, and that is one dead Disruptor for sure. The rest of the team will now, or should now, reconsider. Nightmare still to stop from Freezer from chasing down anybody. The Blink Dagger on Stellianer, by the way, longer initiation range. If there is someone out of position, Stellianer has vision, which is very easy to do, of course, with the Call of the Wild. Then Stellianer will be able to get in there fast enough, blink and roar, because with the range on the roar and the Blink Dagger, that is the longest initiation range that you can think of.
Yeah, his initiation range at this stage is huge. Yeah, apart from Ember Spirit.
And Earth Spirit.
Ember Spirit. That's Earth Spirit's name.
Oh, it's just okay, in general. The
even though he's completely irrelevant now because he got nerfed pretty hard, but yeah, I mean, his initiation range is huge. The one lucky thing for TCN is that he can't initiate on the Slark.
Whoa, roar, Batrider, you're dead. That was
He can initiate on Batrider though.
Yeah, blink, roar is all you need. We still have got Zonder. Oh, that's actually the gem. I mean, he was not really needed for that fight. Not at all. They could have done it with the Beastmaster and the Centaur alone, and he came in from the other side and didn't have a way to go, so ends up losing the gem. The gem, I mean, it was the gem from TCN to begin with, obviously, but it's a big loss.
It's still a lot of map control that they lose.
And we just said how important map control was. I mean, the Hawk will die if you see him, obviously, if the enemy team sees you.
Although that said, the Hawk is a flying unit, so you can put it above trees, and even with a gem, you won't notice it there unless you have flying vision yourself. You can use it on the Batrider, that is a good point. So, I mean, there are a fair amount of flying units in this game. It's not something you often get to talk about, really, because flying units are not that common in Dota, but when you do get to use them, it means a lot. You know, getting flying vision up on the map is huge for those just small little things, especially when people are trying to juke away from you and run away, but Batrider will probably carry the gem, yeah, and looks like Bob's going to go down on the bottom lane.
Yeah, Bob, you'll have an A ult flying in on him, or at least I thought I saw it fly in, but apparently never reached through the bottom lane. Disruptor still gets picked up though. Kinetic Field is still there to stop Stellianer from being chased. I say that, but in comes the Batrider. He still gets Bean's Grip. In comes the BKB from the Centaur. Finds targets. 2 dead. And a 1 Slark left standing, but not for long. He'll go down as well. That is one worthy sacrifice, as Batrider still gets a kill on the Beastmaster because standing in fire is bad.
Fire is bad for your health, guys.
Yes.
Welcome to...
World of
Well,
Warcraft.
welcome to... Yeah, World of Warcraft, I was going to say. I don't want to say it, because it's, like, embarrassing talking about World of Warcraft. I never actually played World of Warcraft, though. I genuinely didn't.
Then why are
Like,
you
not even saying
embarrassed
that.
talking about it? I mean, it's just
I don't know,
raiding.
because people will associate with me.
Any PvE thing that you do, and the general
Just
thing of World of
anything. Don't do it
Warcraft.
in real life
Yeah,
either.
yeah.
Walking on fire is bad for you. Like,
Oh.
genuinely.
Some monks do it though.
I mean,
Or walking on
that
hot
feels like a bad
coals.
decision.
They walk on coals, right? The glowing things, and just to prove that
But that's
they're
not
all
actually
zen.
fire. That's not actually, like, fire.
Well, I bet they
Like,
can do it with fire too.
I mean, do they want to keep their feet?
Oh,
That
most
seems like a
likely.
bad decision.
But to be honest, like if you walk on coals, there's no way you're not gonna feel that, right? If you don't feel coals, if you don't get any burns from walking on coals, then you will also not feel burns from walking on fire.
Well, it depends how fast you walk on it, right? It's like putting your hand on a radiator. If you hold your hand on a radiator, you're going to burn your hand.
Depends
But if
on
you
how
just
hot the
like put
radiator
your
is,
hand
but
against a radiator, it's like not as much of a big deal. If you walk in fire, though, I'm pretty sure you're going to get like serious burns.
Well,
Like that's not good for you. You're
to
not
be
going to be able
honest,
to walk for a while.
Beastmaster was not walking. Like if you see him walk right now, he's actually not walking. He is just running. So he was running through fire.
I mean that. I guess that's true. Beastmaster can't stop running. Though. I
five
mean
man
that's the
smoke.
thing.
Big smokes. Big smokes. Bat Rider looking for a target. Can he find someone? There is a Bane close by next to the tier 2 tower, and he is going to be the target. Blink forward. He grabs himself the Disruptor. That's going to be the target that he wants to have. Disruptor still goes down, even though the Stampede comes out. Wow, that's going to be already the Wraith King dead, but everybody being so slow, perhaps this is their way to go. The Roar comes out on a rise with his BKB already on cooldown. Where's the damage, though? They need the Wraith King, but Wraith King already backed off, or at least looked for a different target, and this is the Slug that he wants to take down, which is, by the way, still alive. Now he gets himself the Aegis. That's at least something. He will get the cold feet proc, though. He really needs something else. A BKB, perhaps. He is gonna die here if he's not careful. Dead, indeed, he is. And that is 2 on 3 in total. Of course, we can call it 2 on 2 because... Or 2 on 1 in total, because 2 on 2 with because of the Aegis, but that was...
Radiant's middle tower
I
is
mean,
under attack.
I thought for a second CD had that, but they were so
Radiant's middle tower
split
is
on what they
under
were trying to do. They were just going for
Yeah, they
different
did
targets.
change their minds a lot in that fight. They at first they wanted to go for a rise, they got their Aegis, and then it looked like they were going to commit and finally, you know, fully commit and kill off a rise. And then they were like, oh, Leon's pretty low, we should go after the Slark. But you never want to try and chase the Slark. That's a terrible decision.
Yeah.
The hero's just too mobile, and he has a Lincoln Sphere.
Beastmaster in some trouble. Beastmaster more than in some trouble. Beastmaster dead as Afterlife turns on his BKB again, but he can't man fight a Rise. There's just no way. And that's going to be 2 extra people dead, but with the Wraith King buying back, they actually get a chance. If he dies here, though, he still has his reincarnation, but if he dies again, that game might actually be done for.
bottom tower is
He does have buyback, though. Actually, no, he
He-
doesn't
he
have
ju- he
buyback.
just
He
bought
used
back.
it. Yeah, he just used it.
Yeah, Arise still getting roared again for the second time this fight. Stun comes out as well. Do they have enough damage? In comes Leon again, but Arise this time, they are one-minded. They want to try and take him down. The Thunder Strike, the Glimpse back. They still are going to get him, and they should still be indeed getting that kill. They lost focus, though. In comes the Axis. Can they have the damage there? Yes, that they can, but they lose so much in return. Now they go for Leon, who will get stunned, who should be going down here, pounces away, but will indeed get taken down. Zonder will take a fall there as well, and it is only Wraith King still left standing, as he'll try to take down the Bat Rider, but gets stunned by his own stun by Freezer, and Lasso as well, as it is there as well. The Necronomical unit still trying to chase down the Bat Rider. He gets the kill, ultra kill for him. Can he turn this into a rampage? He needs one more stun. He has got the phase boost. He's running fast enough for the stun. Just needs to get in range. There comes the stun. Freezer has got a stun of his own, but he will be able to. He's not gonna make it out alive. No,
Come on.
oh, rampage
Yes.
just in time. That is one's very strong Wraith King. I was thinking this game is over, but he is so strong right now. Even without a BKB, who cares about stuns?
The only king that matters.
Oh, burn. Poor skeleton.
I mean, yeah, he's able to do an absolute ton of damage in the fight, and we saw then, even with TCN doing a lot to try and kite him out, the thing is, Counter-Strike, they have so much to actually try and control people, that this Wraith King is able to get his full sort of amount of damage output into these fights, and Wraith King, I mean, you joke about how he's actually kind of not a great late game hero because he can never get a chance to hit anyone. He does do a ton of damage if he gets to hit anyone. That Mortal Strike hitting for 275% damage, and the fact that he has inbuilt lifesteal as well, it means he can go for other damage items outside of that. Things like BKBs. At the moment, he's got a Sanjin Yasha and just a Monkey King bar. That's not even that far. Imagine if he had an AC too.
Yeah, check the courier.
Where is it? Where is it? Is it a rapier? Oh, it's an AC as well.
You were talking about that one. It's done. It's in his.
I wanted him to get it for a while, and it's such a good item for him this game.
Whoa, that was a sniper if I've seen any. Heart almost done for the centaur though. Afterlife is building towards that one. I really like that first fight near the tier 2 tower. The roar came out on Afterlife, and people were chasing the lion, as in chasing the Slark. So that felt like miscommunication. But when that fight, when the buyback was happening already, when they chased down Arise for the second time, that time you could really see the focus.
Yeah, and that's an important thing, especially when, like I said, you're running with a hero who can get kited out. You have to find your target, kill your target, and then move on to the next one as fast as possible. If you get caught up going, oh, should we get this guy or should we get this guy? You're going to end up screwed because people are just going to run around in different directions and you're never going to get any of them.
Yeah. And I mean, that was, I mean, it was such a clear difference though, and it makes me kind of scared for TCN because if Can't Describe can keep this up, I don't feel like they can still lose this one. I mean, they are gonna get an Aegis on the Wraith King, so you now have to kill him 3 times. And
I don't even
with
think
the level
they'd put
16,
it on the Wraith King, to be honest.
He already sold an item.
wasteful.
He already dropped one, so I think it's for him.
Oh yeah, he is good. He's gonna put it on, but they
Oh,
actually got
hello,
AA ulted,
Slark.
so they're gonna have to back off.
Yeah. They're taking a lot of damage. Here comes the BKB Flat Rider blinking in. Goes for the Disruptor. Disruptor is the target all the time first. Afterlife actually gets bursted up as well. Arise. He is a monster, and he is also killed off the Wraith King, who, by the way, does not have buyback. The roar comes out actually from the Rubik and goes on the Wraith King, who dies. This could be game. Stallianer 3 stacks of sticky napalm, slowed and killed, and Zonder will be the last one to go down. This is 5 dead, and TCN, either they're gonna play it conservative and go for the Roshan, or they're gonna go
They're gonna
for
get
the
Roche
drone.
and Rax probably from this.
But
There's
no
gonna be
game.
at least 30 seconds where nobody's gonna be up on the side of code that Can't Describe.
But can they finish the game? I don't think they can.
They probably can't finish the game, but they can at least get Rax from this.
I don't
Maybe
think it matters
they can
that
even
much
finish
for
the
CD.
game.
Does
It doesn't matter
for
a
them?
huge amount. It still hurts though. It's still, you know, and especially because they don't have any split push to speak of, and TCN at the very least, they can send their Slark to split push. So losing a Rax will hurt them.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
And they have to now, of course, make sure that they let this Rex go
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
and not be too worried about it and jump in one by one to die. That is the trap.
This might even be 2 Rax actually.
Looks
They've
like
still
the Rise
got, yeah,
wants to
they've
go
still
for
got half their time left until the Wraith King's up.
Yeah.
They can't fight at all. I mean, look at their positioning. They're just waiting in the fountain. They're waiting for this Wraith King. They know they need him.
Yeah, and they
Nobody
know
else
they
does
can't
damage on their
really
team.
let anything happen. They know they have to
Radiant's bottom barracks
stay there because the moment that they die, it's over.
Radiant's bottom
15
Bat
seconds
Rider might
left.
pull one out though. That could be very dangerous for. Although it's very dangerous to do as well.
Yeah.
Radiant structures are fortified.
He wants it though. He really does want it. Oh, he gets a Disruptor again. It's really... He's got that guy's number for sure. Disruptor already dead. Gets the static storm up, which is great. Fiendscript comes out on the Slark as well. They get that one, looking for more. Arise already slowed as they were able to take down... Or nothing yet, that was just a board. They take down the Aegis. Fiendscript now on the Wraith King. Also Cold Feet helping out. Freezer in some trouble. Freezer dead. Wraith King is the one that's all about though. His reincarnation already popped. Can he actually turn this around? He goes for a Rise. The Lincolns is popped. The Cold Feet, he can't let that proc. He really needed that BKB, I think. Now gonna be able to run away from a Rise. Goes back with the stun. And now is gonna try to crit that guy down. The Brain Step comes out to help him out. That's gonna be 3 extra dead. And it looks like CD is able to force TCN out of their base. And I think with that, they still definitely have a chance to get this game into their hands. But with now 2 sets of Rex down, it's
This has to be rapier time, I think, for the Wraith King. It's his only real option.
Not without a BKB or an Aegis, really.
I mean,
he needs something to not get disabled. He gets disabled so much.
he does need that, but on the other hand, if he goes BKB, you know, people on the side of TCN are getting more items, and it's probably not going to be enough. They're down 2 racks. This is a desperate situation. I don't think they can win through normal means. And Wraith King is a great BKB hero as well. It's not like he hasn't got enough HP.
But there's like, he's been shut down so much, and if Rubik gets a steal on that roar again, I mean, that was the real killer in the previous fight.
Yeah,
Roshan,
Rubik
right?
has been playing amazing in the last 2 fights. He stole roar. He's used roar twice, and he used Fiend's Grip as well.
Yeah.
Like, great steals for him. And I mean, Izzy's a good hero versus the side I can't describe his lineup, but he really is playing out of his mind, doing a lot of work for TCN.
I fully agree. I mean, without that Rubik, TCN might not have won
They
that
would have
game.
got destroyed in that last fight.
Yeah.
Because for a good half of that fight inside their base, Beastmaster was just standing doing nothing because he got roared. And then somebody else, I think the Wraith King immediately got Fiend's Gripped afterwards. So that's 2 of their heroes that they need running forward, putting their disables on. And one of them, I mean, it's their entire DPS, right? Nobody on the side I can't describe but the Wraith King does any physical damage at this point, and there's a ton of BKBs on TCN, so he needs to be doing everything for his team.
Yeah,
I
feel
don't know.
like...
I'd go Rapier because I'm crazy. I think he's getting... It looks like he's getting BKB though. No, just a TP scroll, actually.
Yeah,
it looks like they just want to go for it now.
I'm not convinced about this one, but all their spells are pretty short cooldown. That's quite good, as Breezer actually jumps in, looks for a lift, finds the Lianer, in comes the Stampede, BKB's turned on. Can Afterlife do something? He's trying to chase him down. Disruptor again dragged by the bat rider. This time not focused by Earthball too much, at least gets one spell off. Fiend's Grip again, this time from the Bane himself, gets himself Leon, but there's no damage. Now the damage comes back. And of course I'm talking about the Wraith King, who has already got a kill, now gets Fiend's Grip as Rubik was able to steal it, and that is probably the end of the game. No buybacks. And only one hero dead on the side of TCN. That Rubik again. GG, what play comes out here?
Yeah, they call it.
Yeah.
The Rubik did an absolute ton of them. Outside of the damage that they were doing, I mean, I said it before, Rubik is a perfect hero versus Bane because you can interrupt his channel and you can steal it from him immediately afterwards. And he was also stealing things from other heroes. I mean, he stole a roar a couple of times. So, yeah, fantastic play from TCN there. And a brilliant display from Can't Describe as well. To play with that sort of lineup, I enjoyed this game a lot.
Me too. I kind of think, like, okay, Wraith King was good. Maybe his item build not entirely optimal. I would have liked to see him build a BKB. But I think the Centaur was the one that was underwhelming for me. He needs to have a bigger impact on the early game if he wants to be picked up more, I think.
Yeah, he had a few key stuns, but like you said, his impact wasn't great. One good thing that they did have is that Centaur ultimate helps Wraith King a lot. You can't kite a guy who's running at 522 move speed, right?
True.
I mean, you can to an extent, but he's still going to be hitting you. It's not like you're going to be completely dodging his attacks by just running away. He's still going to hit you, he just won't hit you as often.
True. Well, we're going to see TCN again. CD, maybe we're seeing them back, maybe not. They will be going up against the loser of the other game that was going on at the same time as this game, which was Maven versus Tricked. The winner of that game will be up against TCN, so stick with us. We'll be right back with the winners bracket finals of Group D of the Spring Cup, and should be a good one. Another best of one, of course, coming up. Don't go anywhere.